How are you guys? Good, good, good. Can you believe we're starting already? Wow. Crazy, huh? No, I can't.
Just a reminder, please silence your phones if you haven't already. We'll go ahead and start with the statement from Coach Barnes, and then we'll move into questions. I will point you guys out, so if you'll just raise your hand. If I make eye contact with you and point you out, it's your turn to go.
Well, I'm extremely excited for this year. I know the expectations are really high, but I'm excited for all the momentum we have, and I'm excited for the chance for us to play in front of a crowd. Last year, I don't feel like we got the real thing. And so this year, to be able to play in front of a true, McHale crowd is going to be really exciting. And I think we have a lot of talent. I'm not going to make any promises as to how we'll be or where we're going to finish, but I think that we have a chance to be really good. I think what you'll see is we have a lot of people, but we have a lot more depth. We score in different ways, and we have a lot more girth inside. So that's something that we haven't had here at Arizona. So I'm really excited to see what this season will hold.
Yeah, so between last playoff run to now, what has changed for you personally?
Well, my baby's a little older. No, personally, just we did something amazing last year. I think it was a very tough year with COVID and different things. A lot of negatives from last year, but then there were so many positives with the program and what we did and what we were able to accomplish. But I think that this year is going to be really different. I think that it's very different being the hunted and hunting. So I think that the standards are really high and expectations are high, so we have to really step up to the plate. So I'm curious to see how we're going to respond. But not a lot's changed for me. I'm just doing my job and trying to get better and trying to recruit.
How do you feel about, embarking on this season right now? Last time we talked to you, we may have talked to you in May in a full presser on Zoom, but really it was, last time was title game, and then you had the big celebration coming home, and now you have a new season.
Yeah, it's got so much. It just has gone by so fast. So it feels like a long time ago from now, but I felt like just the downtime went by really fast. I had a great experience with USA Basketball, winning a gold, coming back, recruiting, adding some great players to our roster, all that. So I'm extremely excited just to see how I can put all those things together and how we're going to work. Great group of young women. I think the best core we've had as far as culture and fit and everything. So I'm excited. I think we're pretty good and we're competing, but we do have 5 new people. So having a lot of new people, it's just there's a lot to learn. But I'm just excited. It's gonna be fun. Did I answer your question? Okay.
So we've got NIL now. How do you think that's going to affect recruiting going forward? Do you see kids going to schools where you think they can make more money?
I do see that already.
How does it affect, and being a student, I mean, if that's your goal, how much does it affect being a student and pursuing a degree?
Yeah, see, I don't really know yet because it's so new. I'm just starting to see. I think we won't know till the end of the year. I think it's great opportunities for student athletes. In Arizona, I think we're offering something special, but I have to see how that unfolds because I don't really know yet. I think we're seeing a lot of people around the country. Players are getting different deals, and a couple kids from Stanford and Paige Buchers from UConn signed to some big companies. But our players are getting different things. Bendu has a couple things. Samaje, Taylor signed with the company. So, I hope that doesn't distract. Our players, they have enough distractions as it is, but I think it is what it is. And I think we're going to see a lot more changes in the next year with it. But I think the positive thing is they have a chance to have camps and make some money. And, a lot of student athletes, they leave college in these 4 years. They can't have a job. They never have any money. So I'm just happy that they can, earn what they should be able to earn. And I hope it's not a distraction. I hope it's not that, but I think it is what it is. And I think it's preparing them for life because after, we do a lot of stuff for them as coaches and as a program. We give them a schedule. It's pretty stringent. It's pretty tight. You have support for this, that. You can't fail in any aspect. So I think that this is preparing them to have to balance pursuing their own, aspirations and still taking care of stuff on the court. So I think that it'll be good life lessons. But so far, it's been great. It's been all positive, not negative.
You talked about the newcomers to the team. Can you talk about the transfers and what they bring to the program?
Yeah, so Araya, she's great, from Alabama. Total, Southern girl that just brings us a really good presence. I'm not talking about basketball, I'm talking about just personality. Gets along with everybody. I call her grandma because she's one of the older players, but just you're really funny, good personality, good teammate. The players really like her, so she adds a lot. And then on top of that, she's a good player. Really strong inside, beautiful touch, like great hands. And she's expanding. She's got a good shot. So for us, she'll shoot some threes, which she never has. I think when you guys see her score her first three, she's probably going to go down the court like that because she never is I don't think she's ever attempted a three in her career. So I think for us, she can do that. She's talented. And then Coy brings us this fierce competitor, very versatile, extremely good off the dribble, really good around the basket, can play different positions for us. Anna Gret is a freshman, Anna Gret. From Estonia, she's really, I think about Bobby Buckets. You guys remember Bobby Buckets from Washington State? She's really crafty. Like, she doesn't look fast, but she's deceptive and can score in so many different ways. Shoots the three, floaters, pull up, a very good passer, very high basketball IQ. And then Nettie. Nettie has just, surprised everybody. I first started recruiting Nettie when she was like in 8th grade. And Nettie's body looks amazing. She's in shape. She's strong as an ox. Like, in the weight room, she is she's brought the bar up. So, she's a beast in the weight room. She is so strong, just naturally gifted. So she's ready, playing well, playing with a lot of confidence. Who am I forgetting? Oh, Gisela, she got here late, so a little bit of disadvantage, but she's just eager to learn. There's a little bit of a language barrier because she's, just emerged into English, so she has to, become more fluent in English, kind of like when Helena came here. But she can play like the 2-3-4 for us, shoots the ball, has a lot of energy, is fast up and down the court. And I think what I also see is like the returners, the bar is so much higher. So Lauren Ware, she went out, she won a gold medal. I think that was a tremendous opportunity for her. So she came back just totally more energized and focused and ready. And then you see Kate Reese stepping up. And I don't think I officially announced it, but Kate Reese is coming back for a super senior year, just like Sam is this year. So I think the future is bright for us, but our core is really ready and excited. Shayna was an Olympian. Shayna got to compete with Canada, so she was a World Championship and the Olympics, so that was a great, or America Cup and Olympics. That was a great accomplishment for her, so I think that she's just showing better leadership. She's improved a lot. She was one of the most efficient players at the World Cup, so that was great. But they're all just hungrier. They're all more focused. You just see it, and I think that's just having a taste of success in the tournament. So everybody, the bar is just higher and the standards are a lot higher. So I love that as a coach because that's the championship culture I've been waiting for. Yeah, Taylor. So Taylor Chavez, yep. Taylor from Oregon, local Arizona kid, which we love. Brings us leadership, a tremendous shooter, smart, great teammate. All of those things, they all make us better. So I look at all the players we added. Every single one makes us better in a different way. And basically, Maddie's a freshman again. She got the gray shirt year last year, but she's really a freshman again. But she's so far ahead of the other ones just because she was here those few months. So it's a great group. It's a fun group. And we're working really hard to get better.
How do you handle, or actually how the team handles those expectations that come with coming off a championship run?
I think there's nothing to do. You just do your job. I don't think it's something we think about. I don't think we're saying, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that. I think it's a privilege, a blessing that we are in that situation, and now we got to work harder. So I don't think it's a matter of handling it. We just do our job. I think the challenges we're at the target, and we're gonna draw more crowds here. We're gonna draw more crowds on the road. Everybody's talking about us, but I don't feel pressure because it's got to do our job. So, there's pressure with this job in general, and I don't think players think a lot about that stuff. I don't think so. It's not something we talk about if they do think about it, because I think our job is just to get better because we really hadn't done anything because we didn't win. So coming in second, you don't get a medal for second. So I don't think, yeah, it was great getting there, but like, it's more meaningful if you win it. We didn't win it. So we really haven't done anything yet, in my opinion. So our goal is to win it. So what do we do better than last year to get to where we want to be? And it's all water under the bridge because this year's going to be a lot harder. So there's going to be more adversity. It is going to be more of a target. We have a very tough non-conference schedule, the toughest we've ever had. And some of that was by design, not all of it. It was very hard to get games, and we're playing a lot of really good teams on neutral sites. So that's going to be a challenge in itself. So I think when you look on the outside in, if you see a few losses, you might be like, oh, but there's a lot of reasons, and I'm okay for that. I'm okay with the challenge, and that's how we get better, and that'll prepare us to win a championship.
So every year you have new expectations, and you've had it each year of your tenure here. And you just spoke a little bit to that. But also the other thing that's new this year for you is no Aerie.
Yeah.
So how are you, I know this is a new team with the core, most of the core from last year. But how do you move on from that?
I think it is what it is. Like, Aerie was a great player here. Aerie did so many amazing things for this program, but we have to all step up. Like, we are going to lose 21 points a game. So I'm not asking someone else. I'm not saying, Kate, you have to score 21 more points a game. I'm saying, like, what can we do as a team to get better? And to me, we'll be a really good team with balance. And we're going to have a lot more balance this year. And I think if my goal would be to get 4 or 5 players in double digits in scoring. So if we can do that, if Sam can take 2, 3, 4 more points, Kate can take 3 or 4 more points, you know, Coy can come in, Taylor, different people can step up, I think we fill that void. I think we're going to just look different because Aerie was so fast. She was like everywhere. But it's not always bad. I think it's just different ways to just put things together. So I think for me as a coach, that's the challenge and that's the fun part is like, is everybody going to say, oh, she's not without her All-American, what are they going to do? Yeah, so to me, that's fun. That's the competitive part, and I'm not afraid for a challenge. So now how am I going to manufacture it for us to be successful? And that's my job to do, so we got to figure it out. And I think that we will, and I think people are excited for the opportunity to be able to step up. And I think that that's what I see, and I already see a lot of things as far as we're sharing the ball really well, we're talking. So I think that we have a chance to be really successful in what we do. Now, defensively, we might look different. We might not. Well, and the funny thing is, Shayna can do, like, guard the ball like Aerie did. So I don't think we're losing in that sense. We might look a little different overall with our defense, but we still will have the same system and still play aggressive.
Adia,
Yeah.
I would imagine that for a high schooler to jump in with a high caliber tournament team mid-season, it'd be really difficult. How did Maddie handle that? Where have you seen her biggest progression from then to now?
Yeah, so very difficult. I didn't expect Maddie to come in and play right away just because she had to learn under fire, under pressure. So it wasn't like time to teach Maddie when she came, obviously, but she picked up really fast. I think that for her, it was a tremendous experience winning with us and going to the tournament. So what she did and what she was able to see, I think it's just made her work harder. I mean, she worked her butt off all summer, came back in better shape, hungry. She is a gym rat, and I love that. She wants to get better. If she's not good at something, she asks how she can improve, and I love that. But I saw the growth in her from when she came till now, and I really saw it. We had that, military training called the program. And she really stepped up as one of the leaders. So she's someone who I want to teach how to lead. And I think someone who I'll bring along to fill a leadership role later. But she has the qualities for that. So that's how much she's came along, because that's a freshman. So I love the fact that I am seeing that in a freshman, because the future is promising for us when you see that. Because that's hard. You can't teach that stuff. So you either have those qualities or you don't.
You mentioned trying to teach her some of those leadership skills. How do you teach those leadership skills? What sort of things are you focusing on?
So when we had the program, so one specific thing, I put different people in under really stressful situations. So I'm able to choose while we're doing that. It's like 48 hours of hell for the girls. It's not hell, but it's like, they probably say it's hell. But I'm able to choose people who I think can be leaders. So there was one where Maddie had to, there's like 10 different stations. Like one is like, I mean, they're hard stations. One is like holding dumbbells. One is like in the ring hitting the instructor with the pad. There's all these different things that are really hard. She had to, on an Aerodyne bike, She had to keep the RPMs at a certain level. She had to bike while he's screaming in her ear, and it's stress. And then she has to like manage and yell and make all the team rotate. Very hard. Some people like couldn't really do it or do it well. She did it pretty good, but it was difficult. But that's a situation like in a game, you're getting yelled at, there's stress, there's a crowd, your teammates aren't listening to what you call or something. So I think that was a good learning experience for her. And also I put her in, I put different people in situations, like I put her as the head coach of something, and that she has to manage that area. So like in her area, if she isn't managing it well, I stop practice and I say, like, are we doing this? And then the team is like, yes or no. And if no, I don't punish the team, or I say, okay, Maddie, like it's on her. So she might have something or have to take accountability in that, and it's hard. And so, you know, it could be push-ups, it could be like her doing something the team just watches, because it's her job to do that for the team. And so I think those things, but she's totally resilient, and she wants it. And that's what I love. She wants that and invites that, so I like that.
So Coach, you touched on Maddie. I was going to ask, one week she's in the hallways of a high school, next week she's in.
It was like literally 4, and we did that in like 4 days.
Can you talk a little bit more about Taylor and bringing one, arguably back one of the best players in Arizona history, back home, and that whole process and having her on campus?
Yeah, so when I first came to Arizona, I wanted to try to recruit Taylor because we recruited her a little bit at Washington, or a lot at Washington, but we weren't good enough back then, so she didn't give me the time of day. I was like, oh man, so we couldn't keep those players in state. But the second time around, I knew she wanted to come home, and we had some great conversations, and we were wanted the same things. We were aligned, looking for the same things, and I thought she'd be a great addition. She's a great shooter. She's smart. She came from a championship team, a good team that wins and that knows how to win. So I thought she was just so valuable. And I think she had a lot of choices. And she wasn't only coming because it was close to home, but that was just obviously attractive to her. And so I'm happy to have her. I think she can really help us in a lot of different ways. She knows what it takes to be successful, and a lot of people don't know that. And if you didn't do that with us last year, you've never done that at this level, and she's done that. So she brings a lot to the table. She works hard. She's a great teammate. She does her job. She's coachable. All those things that I want in a player, she brings. So I was really, really excited when we added her, and I really, really enjoy coaching her. Yeah.
So you mentioned the size that you added this offseason. How do you feel the versatility of this roster can, you know, what's the potential of the versatility of this roster, and is it maybe the most versatile roster you've had in a while?
Yeah, because it's the best roster we've had. That doesn't mean we're gonna win the best, but it's the deepest roster with the deepest talent. We really have a lot of players that can play a lot, and that's gonna be the challenge for me, having 15 players and then 15 people can't play. So I think you know, the seniors really should step up and pull the other people along, but we have more size inside. We should rebound it better. We added more strength inside. And then on top of that, Lauren, Kate, Sam, everybody's improved a lot, Shayna. So I think that we just have a chance to play different ways and do different things. You know, we have a lot of versatile players, and I think of the most versatile players, Sam can play 1 through 5 for us. Bendu always plays 2 through 5. Coy can play 3 or 4 positions. Gisela can play 2 or 3 positions. We have a lot of players that can play a lot of positions, which I like, because then if we want to be a better defensive team, we can go smaller. If we want to be a little bigger to match up with the big teams in our league, we can. And in the past, we couldn't do that. And I think that we were exploited a little bit in the tournament, because when they started to kind of pound the ball inside in a championship game, we had a tough time. And I don't think we'll have that problem now. So I think you know, but when we have a bigger lineup, we may not be as fast up and down the court. Like, that's okay. So those are give and takes for everything, but I like having the versatility to be able to do different things. And I think we have the potential to do that.
You're pointing at me? Oh, you may have, we raised our hand up a few ago, so.
That's okay.
You
You
don't
forgot
want
your
to
question?
the same question over and over again. I think you kind of answered it. It was about, you know, certainly, I think everyone's confident there's going to be really good defense from a team coached by you and your assistants. But the the scoring this year, where's that going to come from? I feel like you answered it with different players in double figures, but.
Yeah, and I think that, and that's the challenge, I think, sometimes, because, like, last year, if we were really good defensively because we were as good offensively, and I think some of that's personnel and who you have. So I think there's you just as a coach you have to balance that because there's certain lineups where we'll probably shoot it a lot better, but then we won't maybe press as well. And I think that's the balance we have to do. I think the good thing about us is we can play in different ways. And so to have that option, it helps. Like if we would have had a couple of these post players last year, I think it would have really helped us against Stanford. I think we would have had more size, guarded a little bit better inside, had a little bit better presence, and we were getting killed on the boards. So I think just having it helps. But it is different. It's going to look different. And, for me, it's interesting to see, like, Ari wanted the ball in those situations, and she helped us win games, for sure. So, like, I'm curious to see who's going to step up and who's going to be the one, or is it going to be 3 or 4 people? If it's 3 or 4 people, it's even better. Who's going to step up and want to take those tough shots? Not afraid to take that tough basket that Ari took for the game. But I think that's evolving and coming, but I'm excited to see how that unfolds.
Against Stanford, was that one great game by Shayna, or is that something she can do a lot?
She's capable of doing that every single game. She does have to improve, and I think that she sees now, I think after being an Olympian, what she really has to improve on. But I think that's very typical. Shayna can play like that every single game, and I expect her to. So the consistency that she has to bring and the leadership and all those things is what she must do, especially to lead us in a point guard position. So that's very typical. She can do that every day. She does that every day in practice.
And continuing on that, from Shayna, what have you seen from her that has improved especially from her experiences at the Olympics and the Americas?
She works harder. She's more coachable. You're starting to see the work she put in. So she's shooting the ball better than she ever has. And I think you're just starting to see the work from the last 3 years come. But I think the main thing for me is she's more coachable. She's more eager to learn. She wants to lead in the point guard position. She wants to do well. So I think I love that I see that. I think she's hungry. I think she just wants to be the best she can be. And so that's exciting for me to see because she cares. But yeah, and just seeing, I think everybody works a little harder now because it's like we want more. We're not satisfied with what happened. We're not like, oh, we're so happy we lost in the championship. Like, we're happy we went to the Final Four, yeah. But like the stuff we did, it's like everybody else was surprised that we did it. We weren't surprised. That's what we do. Like, so I felt like, I think we surprised ourselves in some manners of how we won those games, but that's what we've been doing. So for us, we weren't surprised. We were just like, everybody else was shocked, and it was kind of like, this is what we do. So I think that we just want to do it better and want to do it more and reach our goal because we were short of our goal. So we just hadn't done anything yet.
And other than Shayna, who's emerging in that one position?
So we have Darren. Darren came back, just a different player, more vocal, stronger, more fit, just talks more on the floor, which is important from the point guard position. So just more experienced after the year. But we're going to have a lot of options. Like, we're very versatile. Darren, Shayna, I'll play Sam a little bit at the one, probably Helena a little bit at the one, and Anna Gret and Taylor. Like, they can, and that's not in the order, they can be in different situations. And so I think it'll be a lot of different people at the one because we need that. And I like that because I like playing multiple point guards at once.
What do you think about the idea of a combined men's and women's Final Four?
Is it going to be better than last year? Then I'm all for it. We were shorthanded, sorry. It is not equitable at all. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was flat out crap. That's not what the expectations are. And honestly, as a female basketball player, athlete, a pro, I wouldn't have even known about some of those discrepancies because they've been around so long. Like, it wasn't until stuff was pointed out I was like, oh, you're right, because I've never done the comparison between men and women, but it's not okay. And I think that there's a lot that has to change. I think with some of the research that's been done in the off season, it's not fair. If I was a men's program that lost in a championship game, I would have probably brought back like $5 million per year for like 5 years back. We bring back nothing. So, I mean, that's not fair to me at all, because our winning is the same. And I do understand economics. I understand if the men draw more, but I think it's not fair that it's so different. It's not fair we don't have revenue sharing. It's just flat out not a good system, and it's flawed. So if it's going to be in one place and be better and more equitable, I'm all for it. I don't really care, but I think it just has to be better and it has to be fair. And it's, I mean, we're in 2021 talking about these things, so I think that's a shame.
You touched on Stanford a little bit and being able to match up with them physically. What about the rest of the Pac-12? Do you have any thoughts on how deep this conference will go and some of the competition?
Yeah, this conference is really good. I mean, Stanford's going to be very, very strong, very deep, very big. They signed, some phenomenal players, and Tara's amazing, so they're going to be good. UCLA is going to be good. I think smaller, but quick and tough. And they'll look different, too, because we've all lost a lot of good players. Oregon's going to be good. They're big. Sedona's back. They have big presence inside. I think they have good shooters. I think they've signed a lot of good people and good transfers, so they're always strong. Oregon State's going to be very good. Scott does a good job, and they play different. They're hard to play against, so they're always really, really big, and they shoot the ball well. Very smart team, so I think those teams are really hard. I think Colorado's gotten better. I think Utah, Arizona State. I think they're always competitive. So I think just overall our league has gotten better. And then remember, 2 new coaches came in the league. So Lindsay Gottlieb, she was with the Cavs as a pro NBA coach, and now she came back. So now USC is going to get better. And then Coach Langley at Washington, a really good coach, did a great job at Rice. Now she's in our league. So our league just got better. Got better coaches, and they're already recruiting better, so it's going to be really challenging. And I think that we're going to 18 conference games. It's funny because a lot of us coaches in the top half of the conference really wanted to go to 20 games. And we were, initially going for 20 games, and it got changed back to 18, but we wanted 20 because it's been really hard for us, all of us, to get games. It's been like impossible. It took me a year and a half to get the last 3 games. I just literally got the last game. It's not even, the contract's not even signed, like a week ago, and we're already starting season. So it's very hard to get people to come to Tucson. I don't want to stay on the road the whole time. So the challenge is going to be getting games and getting people to want to come here. And our league is tough, and we beat up on each other all year long, but I think it showed how successful we were in the tournament. And if you saw, Stanford finished 1 in the Pac-12, we finished 2, and that was a championship. So I think that says a lot. We are no doubt the best conference in the country, the deepest. We don't have, like our 12th and 11th place team, they beat the top teams, and it's hard to play against them. So I don't think there's any other conference like this. So if you want to play against the best, you need to come to the Pac-12. That's just how it is.
So when you were putting together that schedule, you were talking about wanting to make it a little bit tougher. What are some of the things that you did to do that?
So we're going to a tournament, which I thought would be great because we weren't able to have the foreign tour because of COVID. So I'm bringing the players to St. Thomas. So I thought that's a good experience. No one really gets to go to St. Thomas too often. You go to Hawaii more than St. Thomas, and we're playing Vanderbilt, DePaul, and Rutgers, and that's like 3 consecutive days, so it's challenging but fun. I think that's how the Pac-12 tournament will be. So all these things I thought prepare us for what we're doing. And then we're going to go play in South Dakota. We're going to play again. So Dawn Staley, they're playing a game before us against South Dakota. So South Carolina, South Dakota. And then we're playing next against Louisville there. So that's a neutral site, tough game, and a very good team. Louisville is always one of the best teams in the country. Jeff Wall's a great coach. That's going to be a tough game, and it's a very difficult travel and a tough environment. So there, and then we're going to play Texas and Vegas. So these are all pretty big games that I think that are going to be a lot of fun, but challenging because they're on the road. They're not at home, so I think it's not going to be easy. And it's funny. Everybody always questioned me and said, who are you playing, and how come you're not playing anybody? And I said, we'll get better, we'll play people. Well, we're better, we're playing people. So here we are, we finally arrived. But I was so annoyed about that question for the first 6 years. I was like, yeah. Because if you really, in our conference is so hard, you want to win 9 games. You want to win 9 non-conference games, 9 out of 11, and then you compete for the conference. So you can't have a gauntlet of games in the non-conference and then go 500, and it's hard to go 500 in conference, so that hurts you. So hopefully that'll happen this year with all the good teams, but it's hard.
To follow up kind of that on scheduling, that home opener, you talked about the fans being in attendance again. Are you guys going to do like a ceremony hanging the banner up, and what do you think that experience is going to be like?
I don't know, that's above my pay grade, so he's new, I'm gonna put him on the spot. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do something. I don't know the plans yet, because I was so busy trying to get our schedule done. But I'm sure we're doing something like that or celebrating when we couldn't. I think it's just gonna be so excited. I don't know what our ticket count is now, but I think we're at around 5,000 sold, which is really, really, it's the best ever. So we've already surpassed our revenue and stuff from like 2 years ago. So it's good. So I am going to challenge our fans to be #1 in the Pac-12. I'm going to shoot for 10,000 a game. So I think that's my goal, and I want this environment to be really tough to play in. I want it to be one of the hardest places in the country. So I think the fans will be excited. So hopefully COVID will kind of slow down some more so we get people comfortable to come to games.
All right, guys, 2 more questions from Coach. We have these 2 gentlemen.
What were your big takeaways and to grow as a coach going through your experience with Team USA this offseason?
Dawn is a great basketball mind. I think that what I loved was just coaching the best players in the country. You don't have to say work hard. You don't have to say, like, do this better, because they are trying every possession. So it reminded me of how pros are. And that was cool to see at the collegiate level, because I've never seen that consistently with everybody. But they're all the best of the best. They're all winners. Most of them have all won a lot or won goals or won at the levels, like NC State. Everybody was from the best programs. It was interesting to see, for me to see the different ways that they've been taught, because it's different. So like as a coach, when I'm watching and coaching, like you could see who played a lot of like zone defense, or you could see who like did stuff certain ways. So that was interesting to me, because I was like, oh wow, okay, so like different teachings from different programs. But like Dawn let me do a lot, and so it was fun being able to coach. I hadn't done scouts in a long time, so learning a new system again and doing all that, so that was fun. And just the challenges. And honestly, we weren't expected to win gold. I don't know if you guys know that. We were going in disadvantaged, because typically we would have our senior team and go in there and you could win games by 30. But it was the first time we were having college kids, for the first time entering this competition. They've never played against pros. So sometimes we were playing against teams that averaged like 31 years old. And like DeSantos from Brazil is like 38. She played in WNBA for like 6 years. And we're having like 19-year-old college kids play against them. So we weren't expected to win gold. And the funny thing, with USA Basketball, you're always expected to win gold, but it was going to be a hard tournament to win. So I thought Dawn did a really good job. We had a great staff. She coached the team really well, and then we won. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't like winning by 40 points every game. But I think it just taught me just something different. I hadn't been an assistant coach after being a head coach. So I think that also, I thought I was a good assistant coach. And it was funny because I made sure when I was like, okay, I'm going to be an assistant coach, I tried to do all the things that I complain about as a head coach. All the things where I'm like, oh, I don't have energy, or oh, this and that. I tried to bring all that. So it was fun for me to kind of be in that role again and just have to do it and be in charge of the energy and excitement, because usually you're strategizing, you're planning practice, doing all those things. So I think that was fun. And I loved my experience with USA Basketball. Carol Callan, who just retired, was phenomenal, leads that program. The standards are so high, and you feel it when you're with USA Basketball. And what I also loved is when we were going through all the standards and expectations, it was really aligned with my program. And so I love that, because I was like, I'm doing something right if USA Basketball does that, and this is what they talk about. And I didn't know that because I've never been in those intimate meetings. And I was like, whoa, that's really aligned with a lot of stuff I do here. So I was happy that at least I was getting something right. But yeah, it was great. I hope I can do more with them. It was good.
Last question from Coach.
Adia, recruiting-wise, how much dividends are you seeing right now from the type of player that wants to come here? And are you getting more phone calls and interest of people that say, I want to come play from Arizona, than you've ever had before?
Yeah, I am, for sure. I'm getting more excitement. I'm getting more, like when I introduce myself, they're like, we know you, we watch you. I'm like, oh, really? I'm just surprised at all the people that watched. I'm not seeing the dividends like I thought. I really thought it would lead to some other big signings, but like when I talk to my friends and who have won championships. They really saw it the following year. So I'm waiting for that. I think the difference is that now we're recruiting all the best kids in the country. So now it's like, I'm going against like UConn, NC State, Stanford, like all the best of the best. So now it's the best kids in the country, and it's like there's only a few of them, and they're really heavily recruited. So I think that's challenging, because I'm going against a lot more experienced programs that have a lot more championships. So we just went there once, and we didn't win, but then like UConn has won 11, and he's a legend. So I think that's the challenge of, we're at that next step, but we're not quite there because we haven't sustained it yet. That's just the reality. And so, but then we need those kids to win that championship, right? So that's the challenge I'm seeing, and I've been a little disappointed in that. It'll come because I feel like the people are meant to be here, and it happens the way it's supposed to happen. But I think that's a challenge, because to get that great player, does she want to go to UConn and help them when they're 12th, or does she want to come to Arizona and help them when they're first? So it's a different thing. So I think that recruiting's been hard, but I think the excitement, like Taylor, watched us, wanted to come play here. Coy, there was an immediate connection, wanted to come play here for me, and Araya. So those I think I saw in that sense, but I want to see it more with the classes and the recruiting. And I hope that we do it. But we have they haven't signed yet, so I can't say their names. But we have two of the best, two 5-star kids. One extremely good point guard, 2 guard that's very talented that will sign here in a month. And then we have another one that's a 5-star kid who's one of the best in the country that's recruited by everybody. So we have 2, but I'm hoping by the end of the month to have 3 more. And hopefully and we're not going after just anybody. We have our top 5. And if we don't get them, we'll wait. We won't just go for like the 2nd or 3rd tier. We have the ones that we want. And hopefully we'll get them. So hopefully you'll talk to me in a month, and I'll be like, yeah, it's great. We signed who we want.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, you guys.
Everybody else?